Sokoudjou?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Steve Jewin from MMA Mania. Thanks for the time today. I appreciate it.
No problem, Steve.
So I want to start with this note. You're one of the few fighters who I can recall at least that's been in Pride, UFC, Strikeforce, Affliction, Dream, and now Bellator MMA. So you've had a very well-traveled career.
I enjoy traveling, so it's been a fun ride, and I like it. And it's always interesting to go to different cultures, different places, and and get paid. So.
Well, getting paid is always the important part. But when I saw your early fights in Pride and you got those huge wins over Ricardo Arona and Nogueira, it seemed like you were the hottest thing in the MMA world right at that moment.
Yeah, I know. And things happened.
Yeah, well, it seems like your career has resurrected itself because you've got 2 straight wins in Bellator now, and you're facing Linton Vassell on February 27th. So what are your thoughts about your direction now in 2015?
Well, 2015, it's all about winning every single fight, and then, just put myself in a situation where I don't need to ask for anything, and, my wins will be able to talk for me, and then I'll get what I should get. So that's my plan.
That sounds good. And what are your thoughts of Linton Vassell as your opponent?
I mean, good grappler, and most of his wins come through submission. So I just got to be careful once we get to the ground, make sure he loves to use that rear naked choke, and, that's his go-to move. And whenever he gets in trouble, he finds a way to get you on the ground and, try to sink in that, his hooks in and get you to submit. That's
all true, but you also are a master of the rear naked choke because you finished Terry Dvalin with one, so he should look out for your choke.
I know her, so it will be interesting, to see how that turns out. So yeah, I mean, it's he's lengthy and he knows how to use his length on the ground with his once he gets you there, he'll put his hooks in and try to, work you from there. So it will be interesting.
Well, I'd say you've proven in Bellator that you can take it on the ground or you can take it on the feet because you also knocked out Malik Murad. So if he tries to stand with you, he might be in more trouble than if he tries to go to the ground with you.
We'll see. So, but every time he's been in trouble, he always goes to the ground. So I won't be surprised if he tries to take it to the ground right off the back.
Yeah, that's true. If he gets rocked early, he'll definitely dive for those legs. But I'm sure you've got your takedown defense well prepared.
No doubt.
You're in an interesting position because this is being billed as the British invasion, and you're the lone African fighter on the card. So do you feel like you're invading the British invasion?
I know her. You stole it right from my mouth. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm African. I'm not American. So I'll invade the invaders.
But it only makes sense for you to be invading it with 2 straight wins. They had to put you on the main card of a show.
That's funny. I was actually talking about it with a friend of mine. I'm like, wait a minute. They say the British invasion. Well, I'll come and save the Americans, so I'll invade the invaders.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out, but you seem to be in good spirits about it. So I assume that the training camp has gone really well and that your weight cut's probably going really well too.
Well, I'm in a good spirit because tonight is actually the last night where I'll get my ass beat by my training partners. So after tonight, it will just be about recovering, and so I can't wait to get beat up tonight and then call it, and then just from there take care of the weights and all the I know I can't wait to get done with training tonight. It's been 12 weeks now, going to the gym every day, doing the same thing, and just go home and suffer and come back again and do it all over again. So yeah.
Now, some of the fighters I talked to say they like that last week off, like you just said, when you don't have to get your ass beat anymore, you can just unwind. And other guys that I've talked to, like Pat Curran, say they train up to the day of the fight. So do you believe that the week cool down before the fight is necessary to be ready?
I'm not saying I stop training, but what changes is the intensity. And, you don't need to be sparring a couple of days before. I don't stop training. The intensity is there. It's just the length. And then, you want to be safe. You don't want to get cut or injured a couple of days or each time where if you get cut, there's no way you can compete. So it's all about safety. And then also you need to give your muscle some time to recover because, like they say, don't leave the fight in the gym. You don't want to get in the fight while you're already, you're already done from training too much.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why now, I'm sorry?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, because, I've had training camps where, I'll be home, I'll be scared. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need to train more. Maybe I didn't do this. Maybe I didn't do that. I need to go back to the gym and do it again. While by the end of it, I left everything in the room. And when fight night came out, I had nothing left. So you need that last week to kind of, there's no one who goes into a fight healthy, but, you got that little time to kind of, get your injuries in place and, just try to get as healthy as possible when fight night comes.
Like I say, it seems like you're finding that balance of late between training hard and not overtraining because you've won 4 of your last 6 fights. So it seems like you're getting the formula down.
I'm trying, man.
So what do you usually walk around before a fight? What's your weight like before you make that final cut?
You know what? It's been about 215 or so. So it all depends, especially now that's winter. It's so I get a little, I don't want to say heavier, but usually depending on the season, sometimes I barely have any weight to cut, especially when it's hot and training, sweating all day. So I mean, it's most about recovering because you can be losing only a couple of pounds, but if you don't recover properly after the cut, it's going to be a nightmare.
Right, yeah, you don't want to go into a fight dehydrated and strung out because then you won't have your strength in the cage when you need it.
Yeah, so, yeah, usually, that's why the last part of the camp is usually about just shedding those few pounds and, hating everybody can eat whatever, they can and you cannot. So.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't envy that, but since you do have to eat carefully, to keep that weight, what do you like to eat when you're preparing for a fight?
I start my diet a little early, so usually I have to tell the truth. The only thing I change is I add more greens to my diet, and I'm not much of a junk food kind of guy, so I don't want to say I eat really clean, but I think the only thing I do that I know it's really bad for me is drink all those sugary drinks. So that's one of the things that I cut early on so I don't need to stress about it. But other than that, just common sense type of diet, don't try to eat until you fall off and die or anything. Just, wash portions and, just try to eat, be smart and about what I eat and how much I need to eat.
Well, it sounds like you do that. Now, I want to go back a little bit to your career earlier before Bellator, and you had so much success early on, and you got so much hype going for you, and then things, you went into UFC, you went into Dream, you went into Strikeforce, and things went up and down for you. So, is there any fight from those days where you think, if I trained like I do now, I'd like to do that fight over again?
I'm sure, what am I trying to say here? I did what I thought was, proper at the time, and no matter what I say about all those fights, the results, I don't think will still be the same. I took on some fights I should never had, and, it's just what it is, and I'm not going to sit here and give you a bunch of, excuses and reason why, and maybe what I should have done this. When you get ready for a fight, you always know and think, hey, I'm in the best shape of my life and I'm ready. So, the guys just came out and, they're just better that day than me, and, I went home with the loss. So, I'm not going to sit here and give any excuses and tell you, well, I got my butt kicked and I learned from it, and, now I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Right. Well, you don't need excuses anyway. I mean, when you're facing guys like Lyoto Machida and Hagar Mousasi, I mean, those excuses don't exist because you're fighting the best of the best. So you were going against a murderer's row of fighters from very early on.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at myself as, you know what? When you look at yourself in the mirror, you always tell yourself, hey, you're the best, and there's no reason why you shouldn't fight the best, which I did, and, I didn't get all the wins I wanted, and it sucked a little bit for me, but, that's the way life goes. There's always one person comes in to win, and then one person goes home with a defeat, which is how it is.
That's how it is indeed. And, you had that self-confidence that, a lot of people wouldn't even want to face guys like Lyoto Machida because they all know his reputation and how dangerous he is. And you took that fight no problem. So you win or lose, just taking the fight is victory.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where, hey, I was coming off of a few, big wins, and in my mind I was pumped. I was like, well, I can beat this guy because, I believe in myself. So, but I didn't.
Well, we won't dwell on the past because, like you said, you did what you could and you believed in yourself, and it didn't work out on that day, but it's been working out well of lately. So it seems like you've got big things ahead if you get a third straight win in Bellator. Is a light heavyweight title shot something you're looking for?
Everybody fights for, I would love to get that belt somewhere in my living room and everything, but right now I just focus on the guy in front of me in a couple of days here. And, I can talk all the talk I want, but results are, what people, what matchmakers and fans and whoever is in charge of, lining up, title fights are looking for. So my goal is give them a reason to say, hey, you know what? Let's give this guy a chance. But that cannot happen if I don't go in and win every single fight. So that's my goal right now. Put myself in a position where I can say, hey, I want this and I don't want that, or, pick and choose, be a little brat. So that's my goal.
It's a very admirable goal, and I agree that take any fight you can to get that win and make your statement so you can get what you want when you ask for it. But I'm personally asking for you to have that fight with Emmanuel Newton because I would love to see the master of the spinning back fist and how well he matches up against you.
I know how he's been beating people up with that. I'm like, what's the word? It's really not popular. I mean, it wasn't popular up until he beat a couple of people with that same move. It's interesting because that's some old Muay Thai and old, what's the word here? One of those old master Muay Thai will show you those moves, and then people never believed in it until he started doing it.
Right. So, same thing with Alexander Shlemenko. Everybody always said that spinning stuff doesn't work, and he keeps doing it to people, so clearly it works.
Yeah, I think you have a comeback of the old martial arts technique. Anderson Silva started with the push kick to the face. Everybody now is doing it. And then, that I haven't seen a whole lot of people doing the spinning back yet, but, it starts kind of pick up a little bit.
Well, I guess then that's my closing question for you actually is, what is your favorite way to win a fight? What's the one that always makes you the happiest when it happens?
You know what? Actually a submission, because I have a whole lot of those. So whenever I won my first submission fight, I was like, yeah, now I understand why guys like to submit people. Because I'm used to hitting people and see them fall, and submission's kind of cool,
Yeah. Oh, it's always fun to watch, and like I said, yours against Terry Dvalin was pretty special. So again, I commend you on that win, and maybe you'll see another one in a week or so. Maybe that'll just be the way you get Linton Vassell. You never know.
I know,
Anything is possible. But Sokoudjou, I want to again thank you for the time, and I want to give you this chance to plug sponsors, your training camp, anything you'd like to give a plug to at this time. Please go ahead.
Actually, I'm still waiting on a cheap sponsor to get back at me, and I should have had the list in front of me, huh? Now you're gonna get me in trouble for not being ready for that.
Oh, sorry.
No, I know I should have had it. I have them somewhere in my computer, but I forgot to memorize them. But thank you, though.
Well, I'm sure just Team Quest in general, we can give them a shout out, right?
Team Quest has helped me train, and Team Black, I've got some few guys coming down to help me, because the guy I'm fighting is like 20 feet tall. So Team Black out of Oakland sent a couple of guys to help me train here because I didn't have anyone taller than me, and Ben Black sent a couple send me some guys to help me train. So it's been, and then obviously my training partners and yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds good. And the British Invasion is coming to Uncasville, Connecticut on February 27th at the Mohegan Sun Arena. So, Sokoudjou, we look forward to your fight that night and continued success in your career.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you. It's our pleasure. And thank you, Alex, as well.
Yeah, no problem.